All right, welcome to this video on Reddit answers. So in this video, we're gonna streamline the customer research process. Now, one popular method of doing customer research is digging through reviews or forums or Reddit manually. And today I'm going to show you a workflow that can not only speed up the process of finding out what your potential customers are talking about in various forums, but we're going to take that data, feed it to a custom GPT or a Gemini Gem, and get a lot of insights in 5 to 10 minutes. So first we're going to use Reddit Answers to get the truthful, unfiltered views of Redditors talking about specific pain points. And then I'm going to show you this custom Gemini Gem that I built. So it's very similar to a custom GPT, which is going to instantly analyze that data for you. And so the hope is that by the end of this video, you're going to have kind of a one-page voice of the customer document that gives you the pain points, the insider language, and even the ad hooks that you can test out for your next campaign. So as I mentioned, we're going to use Reddit Answers for this customer research. You're probably familiar with Reddit Answers. It's basically the AI version of Reddit, but they have access to troves and troves of conversations from Redditors. Instead of manually searching through Reddit for these conversations, we can leverage Reddit Answers. Now, the way that you search Reddit Answers is actually really important, right? So again, we want to find the complaints, the pain points, the language that people are using. But if you search Reddit Answers in a way, let me show you an example here, right? So why do eggs stick to a pan? We're probably not going to get people complaining about their eggs sticking into a pan. What we're probably going to get is Reddit trying to be helpful, like most LLMs, and try to give us tips on solving the problem, right? So here we go. It's telling us, hey, the pan is too hot. Try to go low and slow, use more fat, use butter or oil, right? So Reddit's trying to be helpful here, which makes sense regarding the pans, but this doesn't give us insight into people complaining about a specific type of pan, or why they don't like the pan, or why they had a bad experience, or what's the pain point. All right, so we need to use kind of these pain amplifiers, so to speak, when we're searching on Reddit. So at the end of our search or our query, we want to use words like waste of money or regret or worse or tried everything. And it doesn't always work 100%, but we're probably going to get better results from Reddit. So if I search for ceramic pan waste of money, right? Hopefully Reddit's going to surface more complaint threads. So let's try this one. All right, so here we go. Here's a succinct guide summarizing what people think about ceramic pans. This is what we want. We don't want helpful tips for adding butter to the pan. So here are specific complaints around short lifespan, okay? And let me try to zoom in a little bit right here. And the lines and quotes obviously are actually people's exact words, right? The coating doesn't last, and they're throwaway pans, just like Teflon. Can't do any high temp cooking on them, or they rapidly deteriorate. All right, so this is the exact language that your target market is using when they're complaining about a certain product. Here's another good one right here. Users report that ceramic pans can become sticky after a few months of use. After 6 months of moderate use and taking gentle care, food sticks on it. And there's just all kinds of great insight in here in quotes, right? So there's this concern here about ceramic coatings can release silica, which may be toxic, right? If scratched, ceramic coating releases silica, which is toxic to humans. So there's a lot of great information in here where people are complaining about ceramic pans. What I want to show you next, and we'll go through a couple of different examples, is the Gemini Gem. So what you can do is just highlight all of the output here from Reddit Answers, and I'm going to give you access to this Gemini Gem. It should be linked below this video. So open this up in your account. And just to set the stage a little bit, so maybe you're working for a brand and you're launching some kind of next gen ceramic pan, or maybe you're selling a durable or alternative like carbon steel. But if you think about it, your biggest competitor right now isn't another brand, it's the skepticism around these expensive cookware, right? So maybe they saw this ceramic pan on Instagram, they spent $150 on it, it stopped working after 6 months, and now they're angry about it. So what we're basically doing is we're taking that anger and we're feeding it into this Gemini gem. And we want to pull out, and the gem will obviously help us do that, the exact words they're using to describe their failure or their pain point, so we can position our product as the only one that solves it. So again, I have the Reddit output on my clipboard here. And before I paste it in, I might provide just a little bit of context to the gem. So I might say something like, here is a discussion from people complaining about ceramic pans. Tell me why they hate them, right? Something like that. And I'm going to paste in all of that Reddit output. I'm going to hit submit and watch Gemini get to work. I'm trying to get it to analyze kind of the market gap and where the other brands are failing. All right, so you can see the gem is giving us our output now, and this is organized in a couple of different ways. So section 1, we have our pain points and failures, okay? And we've broken this down into kind of 3 different buckets, right? The first one is kind of the sensory icks, okay? So it's number 1, it's sticky, right? After 6 months, food sticks on it. Number 2, it's leaching, constantly leaching a silicone oil into the food. Number 3, it's scratched, right? If it's scratched, ceramic coating releases silica. Then it gets into the product failures. Number 1, short lifespan. The coating doesn't last and they're throwaway pans. Heat intolerance. Can't do any high temp cooking on them or they rapidly deteriorate. Performance drop off, lose their non-stick properties within a few months. Then we get into the buying anxiety, okay? Most buyers assume it's a natural material. In reality, it's leaching. Wasted money. Fear that the pan is a short-term option. Hidden toxins, okay? I'm not going to go through every single line because we're going to do a couple of examples, but I just want to highlight here what the Gemini gem is producing, right? Section 2 is the dream outcome and desire, right? The after state. Buy it for life. Could last a lifetime if you get the right one. Low maintenance. Putting my pans in the dishwasher religiously for like 15 years. High heat capability, ability to sear and cook high temps without ruining the pan. Then we've got the emotional payoff. Then we've got kind of the voice of the customer, right? What are the exact words and phrases that they're using? Leaching, throwaway pans. That's probably my favorite one there. High temp cooking, seasoning, brand comparisons, okay? We didn't search for brands here. So the villain, ceramic, the category as a whole, Teflon, the benchmark for bad, and then we get into kind of the gold standard based on the comments, cast iron, carbon steel, stainless steel, lasts a lifetime. Then section 4, we start getting into some hooks here. And so it's going to give you a couple here. So the first one is the disposable trap, which is pain first, and then it bases off an actual quote, which is the coating doesn't last and they're throwaway pans just like Teflon. That was the one that I thought was the best. So the hook number 1, stop buying disposable cookware. Hook number 2, your pan is trash in 6 months. Hook number 3, why ceramic pans are a scam. Then we go into the second cluster here. And the quote was, most buyers assume it's a natural material. In reality, it's constantly leaching a silicone oil. All right, so this is kind of the health angle. Hook number 1, is your healthy pan leaching oil? Hook number 2, the lie about non-toxic ceramic. Hook number 3, ceramic pans aren't actually natural. And then the third cluster here is the transformation, right? The buy it for life pivot. And this is going off of the quote, a good stainless steel, carbon, cast iron pan could last a lifetime if you get the right one. Hook number 1, buy one pan, keep it forever. Hook number 2, the last frying pan you'll buy. Hook number 3, stop babying your cookware. I don't love that one, but I do like the first one, right? So it's going to give us kind of different frames here and it's going to give us 3 quotes for each cluster. And then the final section is an avatar summary. Okay, so the customer feels duped by the greenwashing of the cookware industry. They bought ceramic because they were promised a healthy, non-toxic alternative to Teflon, only to find they purchased a disposable product that fails in months. They are tired of babying delicate coatings that can't handle high heat and are actively hunting for buy-it-for-life durability, willing to trade the lazy convenience of extreme nonstick for the rugged reliability of stainless steel or carbon steel. So I do like that summary at the end. All right, let's do one more example. And I just want to hammer home with Reddit answers, it's going to default to try to be helpful, right? Which is not necessarily what we want. We don't want solutions from Reddit. We actually want the problems. So another way, another strategy to get at those problems is to literally just ask it for pain points, right? So let's use the kind of kids nutrition niche. Maybe you sell like a kids vitamin or a kids vitamin gummy, and you might be tempted to put picky eater into Reddit answers, but it's just going to give you back tips for kind of solving that problem. Instead, what you want to do is literally ask, right? What are the biggest pain points and complaints from parents of picky eaters? And this will hopefully get us those frustrations, those challenges, okay? So don't be afraid to just literally ask Reddit the pain points that you're looking for. Now, again, Reddit Answers is going to give us a good high-level summary here. Just a side tip, depending on how long you want to spend on your research here, you can go and click these little sidebars and look for threads that have a lot of comments. You know, this one has 21 comments. Why are people so judgmental with picky eaters? And if you go to this post, you're probably going to find some really good insights. And you can also paste these threads, the full threads, into Gemini. So let's just use this one as an example, right? So what I'm going to do is grab all of this. I don't want the advice. You know, we want the emotional toll. So let's grab the header and all of the content here. Let's go back into Gemini. You can literally just paste in the information. And then just for the heck of it, let's take the whole thread here, right? There's not a ton of comments. It's only 17. But, you know, the OP thread here is interesting. Now, obviously, you'd probably want to scan this to make sure it's going down the lane that you're interested in. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to paste it in. So I've got the whole Reddit thread and I've got the Reddit answers output. So let's just pop that in. And again, Gemini, the model, has a huge context window, so it can take a lot of content. Don't be afraid to paste in a whole bunch of text. It can take it. So again, it's going to take the system prompt that I put in the back end, and it's going to automatically generate the pain points and the failures. So we've got kind of the sensory problems about gagging, turning up his nose. He hates mixing multiple ingredients. We've got the product failures here, if any products are mentioned. So here's some good buying anxiety, right? And if your product can lean into protein, right? Here's a very big pain point here. His diet lacks protein. Here's some anxiety. I'm so exhausted and tired of worrying. Then we get into kind of the dream outcome and desires here. This is such a good quote here. I would love to be able to eat at least one family meal together without stress. Let him eat what he wants when he wants, right? And we've got this emotional payoff here. This without stress seems to be a really good one here. Stopped stressing myself. And then again, we've got kind of the quotes from the users themselves, if there's any brand comparisons here, and then we get into the patterns and hooks. Now, I mentioned earlier, you don't really have to pre-prompt. Where it would be a good idea to pre-prompt is when you want it to consider your specific product, right? So if you're selling a kid's gummy, then you should provide that context at the top, because obviously it will make these patterns and hooks much better. So definitely do that, and I'll probably put a note in the gem. But here are some of the patterns in the hooks, right? So here's a good one, the nugget reality, right? Surviving on just nuggets and fries, only 6 foods that they'll eat. Your picky eater isn't your fault. Okay, so this one again leaned a little more towards picky eater rather than like the healthy angle of the gummies. But again, just by pasting in all of that Reddit research here, and if you want to test out finding some threads that have really good conversation and really good comments and really good insights, instead of kind of manually picking through these, just feel free to dump it all into this gem and you'll get a pretty good output here very quickly.